Following the expeditions of Christopher Columbus, the Spaniards began to establish permanent settlements all across the lands in and around the Caribbean, including Cuba. In 1510, a crew of Spaniards also established the colony of Santa Maria la Antigua del Darién, which was in Panama. In 1511, the crew, among them 16 Spaniards and 2 indigenous women, set sail from their Panamanian settlement en route to the island of Hispaniola, but along the way they shipwrecked on the island which is now known as Jamaica. From there, they hopped in a smaller boat that they had on board and set sail for Cuba, only to crash land in the Yucatan Peninsula. Some died on this perilous journey by sea, but the survivors of this voyage were captured by a Mayan tribe, divided up as slaves, and handed off to local elites. Some may even have been sacrificed. In the end, only 2 Spaniards are believed to have lived long enough to make their way out of slavery. One was Jerónimo de Aguilar, a Catholic deacon, as well as a man named Gonzalo Guerrero. Aguilar was sent away to Tulum, where as fate would have it, he was assigned to be a servant of a Mayan priest. In time, he became fluent in the Yucatec Mayan language. As for Guerrero, he was sent to Chetumal, which was another Maya city that spoke the Yucatec language. Guerrero was held in slavery, but in time he earned his freedom, after which he married Sacil A, the daughter of his Mayan lord, Nachan Khan. The Spaniard and his wife had 3 children together, creating the first mestizo children on what is now Mexican soil. In 1518, Cortés was living in Cuba. He was originally from Extremadura, a region of southern Spain. Like Cortés, many Spaniards were from this area of Spain and other parts of the southern side of the Iberian Peninsula. And many of these Spaniards that moved to the New World in the first 100 years of colonization passed right through the Caribbean. So as you're doing your Mexican genealogy, there's a good chance you'll trace your ancestry to one of these first settlers. Cortés's legal expertise and natural charisma would later serve him well as he made his way through central Mexico, setting up towns for Spanish settlers, forming alliances, and establishing Mexico's colonial government. Like all other Spaniards, Cortés was in search of gold and other treasures. In an era where Spaniards had no form of currency to trade with the natives, he and his team produced green-colored glass beads, which to the Spaniards were nearly worthless, but to the natives they conjured up curiosity. During his expedition, Cortés would later trade these glass beads for gold and other valuables with the natives. Cortés was given orders by Diego Velázquez, the governor of Cuba, to only establish trade relations with the people of the mainland, but the ambitious expeditionary captain quickly developed much bigger plans for himself once he reached Mexico. While still in Cuba, there were reports that shipwrecked Spaniards were stranded off the coast of the Yucatan. Cortés and his crew intended to see if the rumors were true. On the 19th of April, Cortés and his expeditionary force departed Cuba in 11 ships and arrived off the eastern coast of the Yucatan Peninsula on the island of Cozumel. Just a few days later, while on the island, the Spaniards engaged with native tribes, and they actually helped them track down Jerónimo de Aguilar, one of the shipwrecked Spaniards. Cortés exchanged glass beads with the tribe in order to secure Aguilar's freedom. Aguilar's ability to speak Yucatec Mayan would later turn out to be one of the greatest weapons in the Spanish arsenal. After retrieving Aguilar, Cortés sent members of his crew, including Aguilar, to get Guerrero from the village where he was now living. Upon reaching the village, Aguilar attempted to persuade Guerrero to leave the village and join Cortés's expedition. But Guerrero rejected him, saying, "Brother Aguilar, I am married and have 3 children, and they look on me here as a cacique and captain in time of war. My face is tattooed and my ears are pierced. What would the Spaniards say about me if they saw me like this? Go, and God's blessings be with you, for you have seen how handsome these children of mine are. Please give me some of those beads you have brought to give them, and I will tell them that my brothers have sent them from my own country." And that was it. Guerrero stayed behind with his adopted Mayan community. From there, Cortés and his crew sailed around the peninsula toward central Mexico's east coast. On March 12, 1519, Cortés and his men landed in what is today known as the state of Tabasco, near the town of Potonchan. They encountered a hostile tribe, known as the Maya Chontales. The indigenous community signaled for them to leave the region, so the Spaniards held back in a safe area, but that night they planned an attack. A few Spaniards were assigned to scout the area leading up to the community. The Spaniards decided to launch their attack from an area known as Centla. At the time, the Chontales were governed by a cacique named Taabscub, and it is believed that the name of the modern state of Tabasco is derived from the name of this Maya chieftain. Prior to the battle, Cortés sent Aguilar to read the requerimiento to the members of the tribe. The requerimiento was a statement calling on enemy forces to surrender and pledge their loyalty to the King of Castilla and to the Catholic Church. This type of statement was actually adopted from a similar practice performed by Muslims according to their religious laws while Spain was under Islamic rule. In this battle, around 12,000 Chontales faced off against Cortés's forces of about 16 cavalrymen and 550 foot soldiers. The indigenous forces were outmatched by Cortés's muskets and cannons. But perhaps more importantly, the Spaniards on horseback were the most decisive factor, as this was the first time indigenous warriors ever encountered horses on the battlefield. In the end, the Chontales were defeated, marking the first Spanish victory in Mesoamerica. Following the battle, the Chontales sent some ambassadors to engage with the Spaniards in order to defuse the situation and to establish peace with the invading foreigners. The Chontales also took an oath of allegiance to the King of Castilla and celebrated Mass together with the Spaniards. Also, these indigenous ambassadors brought with them a number of items, including gold and jade, animal skins, and food. Additionally, they handed over 20 young enslaved women. Among them was a woman named Malintzin, also known as La Malinche. Malintzin was an intelligent woman who spoke multiple indigenous languages, including her native language Nahuatl, as well as Yucatec Mayan. And sources describe her as being the daughter of a ruling indigenous family from central Mexico. In time, she also learned to speak Spanish. Although it's not exactly clear how she ended up in captivity by the Chontales, it's likely she was either kidnapped or sold into slavery. Very shortly after Malintzin was added to Cortés's expedition, it became clear that she and Aguilar would become Cortés's most important advisors. On April 21st, the Spaniards reached a tiny island they called San Juan de Ulua, and on the following day they went to shore and encountered two Aztec ambassadors, both of whom were from a nearby village. And this was the first time members of the Aztec Empire formally met with Cortés's expedition. In this exchange, Aguilar was unable to communicate with them because he couldn't speak Nahuatl, the language of the Aztecs. However, during the conversation, Malintzin revealed her ability to speak the language, and she assisted Aguilar by interpreting from Yucatec to Nahuatl. Cortés provided the ambassadors with 2 shirts, gold belts, some garments, and other small items, and requested that they return with their chieftains so that he could speak with them. The next day, the 2 emissaries came back with their local chieftain. Through his interpreters, Cortés told the chieftain that he came in peace, but that the people of the village would need to submit to the King of Castilla and become his vassals. Perhaps baffled by these mysterious figures, the chieftain quickly agreed. Because of the goodwill in which the Spaniards were received, Cortés dressed the chieftain in fine linens, a coat, a gold belt, and also promised that the Spanish king would soon bestow favors on him. A day later, the chieftain returned with his own gifts for Cortés. Among them were precious gold ornaments. It was in these interactions that Cortés began to realize that these strange new lands might offer the riches that his team had hoped to find. After meeting with these indigenous leaders, the Spaniards decided that there was no going back, and they established the first official Hispanic settlement in what is now Mexico. The settlement was called Villarrica de la Veracruz, from which the modern state of Veracruz derives its name. In doing so, Cortés's expedition attempted to legally separate itself from the authorities in the colonial government of Cuba, and this newly established town council appointed Cortés as both the chief justice and captain of the Royal Armed Forces of the new settlement. The authority of the expedition in Mexico now fully rested in Cortés. So this is an important collection I would like to introduce to you. This is the Catalog of Passengers to the Indies. Here, Las Indias refers to the Americas. Now, this collection actually has 7 volumes. It begins in 1509, and then in the final volume, it ends in 1599. So you get basically the entire 16th century. Let's go through a couple of pages in this book. You get the introductions, and this is what I wanted to show you. So this shows you what the original documents actually look like. It's so fascinating. Now, and this is what it looks like transcribed. And then it goes on for pages and pages. Up here in the corner, you see it's 1510. And then, it goes all the way up. The entire collection goes all the way up to 1589. Now here you can see it shows the name of the person, their job title, and then it shows who their parents were, and then it shows where they were from. So this guy Juan here, he's from Sevilla. Now this is 1510. When you get up to the 1520s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and so on and so forth, it starts showing where they're going. Now these ones here in 1510, the only place they were going to was Hispaniola. But after the 1520s, it would say Nueva España, or they were going to Cuba, or they were going to Peru, or other places in South America, and so on and so forth. Now I'm going to show you how to obtain a copy of this. So now you should be able to find all 7 of the volumes on Family Search. Now, you'll probably have to go to a family history library to view it, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. First, go to the Family Search catalog, okay? And then go to keywords. And then type in the title of the book. So this is what the title was. Now, go to search. This book pops up here. What I showed you, I was able to view those PDFs by going to a family history library. See, these are all available. It shows you, check this out, it shows you there's volume 1 and it shows you the years, there's volume 2 and it shows you the years, and so on and so forth, all the way up to 1599. Now, I do not think the 17th and 18th centuries, either they're not available in the United States or they've never been transcribed. So I've never seen these 2 centuries available. Now, the 16th century, that's what you're getting here. Now, I'm going to show you how to go to a family history library. So go to the main page, right? Now scroll down and then go to sitemap. This is the easiest way to find out where a family history center is. There are local, family search affiliated libraries all over the country. Sitemap. Okay. Now go to family history centers. Right there. Boom. You can see they're all over the world. Now you can type in your city. Now check this out. Las Cruces. See? Let's just say you're in New Mexico. You can just type in here, find one in your neighborhood, and then click on the circle. Boom, there it is. Now if you go there, your local family history center library, you should be able to view those PDFs that I had. Stop by there, see what other resources they have. You might be surprised. I think they might actually let you use Ancestry.com and a couple of other sites for free there. Just double check. Also find these on Abe Books. I don't know how much longer they're going to be up there, but if you're interested in getting the books, I would suggest you go there. So if you see, they're available here. You can just pick out whichever volume you want or just buy all of them. But they're all here. It says that the last names come in alphabetical order. It shows their positions and where they were from. So yeah.